Greetings, Earthlings. You're listening to Probing Aliens podcast. I am your host, Golf, aka Putt Putt, and today we're probing entertainment. When we return. And joining us today on this beautiful Thursday night is one of my good friends from across the land, Derek. Derek, how are we doing today?
Yo, 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 what's up? Doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, bro. Thank you for coming onto my podcast on such short notice. I know
No worries,
everything
dude.
was kind of all over the place, but I really do appreciate you being on here
Of course, of course.
and being my first guinea pig for over the phone podcast interviews.
Hey, I love being a test subject.
Oh,
Hey, yo.
hey yo. But yeah, Derek, can you give our listeners a little introduction about yourself? Like who you are, like where you're coming from, how do you know me, like things like that.
All right. My name is Derek. I am based in Southern California, so I'm pretty far from your boy Golf. And what's it called? I basically we met through um, I would say Twitch. I started talking in a Twitch chat, started, met these new people, and then, we just kind of clicked, and then yeah, we've been kind of talking ever since. It's been like since I think April of last year, I would think.
Yeah, it was like March, April of last year for sure. Yeah.
Join the Minecraft server. It's like, oh,
Dude, that Minecraft server it's so like memorable because like I still remember how you came onto that stream and you're just like, hey guys, like, can I play
dude.
Minecraft with y'all? And we're just like,
Yeah,
yeah, sure, dude, you can come play. And then you just joined up and you built this like little dirt, or not even like a dirt hut. You built like a wood house, like a little bit away from the village and stuff. And then we went on an adventure, and then ever since then, that adventure led us to real life adventures.
oh yeah, the real life adventures. We'll
Yeah, yeah.
we'll get to that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um, but I mean, in terms of, more stuff about me, I would say I'm a creator. I stream a little bit on Twitch here and there. I also am recently dabbling in voice acting. So that's something that I'm pursuing at the moment, and it's kind of
Mm.
going steady. It's going real. It's at a really fast pace, so it's been pretty exciting recently.
Voice acting,
Uh,
like how did you because I know you're like really good at doing like voices and stuff.
mhm.
Um, and I know you were talking about it like before when we were talking. But when did you decide like to turn that into like a reality?
So essentially, it all kind of started through like streaming on Twitch because like I would initially put, when I started streaming, I initially put like stream like COD or Valorant, like just like typical FPS. But then like I've always had like a passion for just like, like RPGs and games that are just kind of on the low.
Like
Uh,
storytelling games almost.
yeah, storytelling, small developers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they always have really good story and just I like the like when I was streaming, I was like, man, I've always been kind of like a character, I would say. I did drama in high school. I was a drama kid. I tried to pursue acting at some point, and like through Twitch, like they have a lot of the, like dating simulators and stuff like that, like Doki Doki. I know you played that too.
I've
What
played
is
Doki
it?
Doki, but I still haven't even finished it yet, dude. I have a very chronic habit of not finishing things that I start. Hopefully this podcast isn't one of them. Which I put a lot of stopgaps to prevent that from happening. So yeah.
I feel like once you get the ball rolling, and like, you get more guests and you get it going, like it'll kind of just become something that's, you wake up and it's like, all right,
Time to do it. Time to get to work.
yes, sir, get on that grind.
Yes, sir.
But the voice acting thing, like I would start creating characters, like doing little, I would just like there'd be a character in the game, I'd be like creating an accent or a character or whatever, and like that just was so much fun for me. Like those streams of like are and have people like listening and like like, oh, you should do this accent or whatever for this character or whatever or something like that, and just like racking my brain in terms of like how I can add some different type of character to um, someone in the game or whatever. Like that just became a lot of fun for me. And in terms of my family, I have a lot of connections in the entertainment, industry. So I was like, maybe I should take full uh, grasp of what it is that I have available to me. And so the voice acting thing is definitely it's been a real. I mean, I've been doing. I did some. I've been like doing classes for the past 3 or 4 months
Oh, you're even
over Zoom.
taking classes?
Yeah, it
There's
was.
voice
Yeah,
acting classes? What?
yeah. So there's a voice act not sponsored campus in California. They're like a private. They've been doing like a private company that teaches like foundations and stuff and advanced acting and all that kind of stuff for people who want to do voice acting. And they've been around for years. It's run by this older couple,
Mm.
and they call it the Camelson method, or whatever. But it's just it like gets you familiar with like what goes down in the studio, like terminology and stuff like that, because time is money. So when you're doing auditions and stuff like that, you kind of want to be super adaptable and be able to kind of just take direction really well and just be quick and be good.
So
Um,
it's kind of similar to like an academy almost, or like a cohort.
yeah, I mean it's just like a like a master class type thing.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just this thing you sign up for, you pay for it, and then usually they would do classes uh, at their school in LA.
Mm.
They do it like in studio classes, which would have been really cool just to kind of get like a whole studio feel.
Right.
But because of COVID regulations and that kind of stuff, they kind of like they started doing Zoom classes, and I think that they like it and it's working. So uh, as of right now, they're still just doing only Zoom classes, which is cool because then it's more available for people that like aren't local.
Yeah, more
You
of
know,
like a global reach. Say for example, if I wanted to become like a voice actor, could I sign up for that too?
oh, 100%, yeah, because
Mm.
it's over Zoom, so it doesn't really matter where you live.
Right.
Like you could, yeah,
I just have to be there on time.
yeah, the time zones that's
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
because class would start at 5, so it start at 8 for you, and it's a 3 hour class.
And it's crazy that like you mentioned, like people asking you on your streams and stuff to do like all these different accents and voices because I've
Hmm.
noticed like when you do those things on stream, because I am a moderator, like I'll hop in your stream sometimes and I'll like see you play these games. Like you genuinely seem the most happiest when you're like playing, an indie RPG game and like you're just like coming up with these voices for these characters that like you meet along like your way when you play the game, right? And like you can
Yeah,
tell like how excited you are and like about voice acting in general. Like even if you're
yeah,
not taking it seriously, it just seems like you're having a lot of fun with it.
oh yeah, 100%. And like that's kind of like what I kind of had to realize because I've always been the type of person that like gets bored really easily.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can relate.
I'll start on something because I think it's fun or whatever, and then I'll do it for a little bit, and I'm like, damn, like this isn't really for me, and then I'll just kind of drop it, um, which has been like the hardest thing for me to like find something I want to pursue in life,
Mhm.
essentially,
Mhm.
because there's never something that's just like constant and like it's like it's
It's always
constant,
changing. Like
yeah,
the only thing that is constant is the fact that it is not constant. like what
Hmm.
your passion is.
Oh yeah, it's you literally like you're meeting all these like these different people that have different ideas, and um they try to they to what's the word their vision comes alive through your voice essentially,
Mm,
right?
mm, mm-hmm.
So and that's where like direction comes in and stuff, because there's so many characters. Like I've learned a lot of, like, in terms of, I think that I have the fundamentals, but when it comes to um like pacing and all that kind of stuff, like there's so many different ways that you can say something. And
And
like
what are the fundamentals to voice acting?
I think it's uh I would say it's a lot of common sense in terms of, there's obviously pace, there's obviously tone, there's obviously emotion, um but there are like little nitpicky things that you kind of just pick up as you do it more, in
Mm,
terms of, elongating a word, or pausing in weird places. And like a big thing they
mm.
say, like when you're reading a script and something like that, is to not really pay attention to the punctuation, just because when you're doing an audition or something like that, you want to be unique.
Right.
You
You
want
don't
to,
want to sound like a robot who's like grammatically correct or like phonetically correct.
yeah, I mean, even if you are phonetically correct, but just depending on how you deliver, um, it can still sound great, or be what they're looking for. But they're also, like, I learned too that there's like a lot of improv that goes into voice acting, because they have things called lead-ins and efforts.
Mm-hmm.
Efforts are like the like
Ah, okay, okay.
the noises and shit like that, or
Yeah.
like, let's say you have a line, but you put like an introduction to that line to get you into character. So that's what like a lead-in is. So like you'd be like,
Mm.
yo, what's up, bro? And then go into the line. You know what I mean?
Okay, okay.
Uh,
It's almost like it's like priming yourself to get into character.
oh yeah. Hmm.
And so like how do you get yourself into character? Like do you kind of imagine yourself in that character's shoes, or is it more like you try to relate as much as possible to the character and then try to portray like those specific qualities that you want for that character? Like how does that
So
thought process go through your head?
so I would say, um, if there's a specific emotion that I'm trying to portray, uh, one thing that I learned was that, uh, you know, you should speak to someone, not like a group. Because I feel like a lot of times when people are acting, like they're thinking to themselves, like, oh, I'm speaking to like this huge audience, and like, I have to this, like, I'm delivering this line for everybody that's watching, or whatever, right?
Mhm.
But when you want to get into character, you should think about one specific person, right? So like, let's say it's like an emotional scene, and like something bad happened in the
Say
past.
let's okay. I'll give you a scenario. Say for example, right? Like I'm a fucking prince, who's trying to overthrow your castle or something, right? And like you're a knight trying to protect the prince. Um,
Mhm.
like how would that work out?
In terms of, well, here's like, I guess I would essentially like find someone in my life that I would think to protect, and like, let's say my little sister, for instance,
Mm,
in a situation like that, put a scenario where it's like really close to your heart, because then it helps you bring out that true emotion
mm.
in terms of, so I would think, okay, I'm talking to this person, um, and then kind of just go from there with the emotion, I guess.
So it's
But
almost kind of like you're bringing in like outside influences, into like how you portray your character too, because
oh yeah,
like that's how like the emotion comes through. Like that's what they want essentially.
yeah, because I mean, emotion only comes from like experience, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
like, um, if you want it to sound genuine, and that's the thing that's, I think, is difficult. The hard part about voice acting is that, like, you have to show these strong emotions just through your voice, not through any expressions or anything like that. Yeah, they'll animate the character and stuff like that or whatever. Um, but sometimes there's not an animation. So you still have to put these emotions just through your voice and portray it that way. which makes it uh, very difficult. Because like they, in terms of acting, I guess a lot of voice actors are offended by actors sometimes when they're like, when people say like, oh, like voice acting is just like a stepping stone to becoming a real actor, right? Like people
Mm,
when they are they're fundamentally different.
right.
Like I guess because it takes everybody it takes different skills and different experiences to like excel at voice acting versus acting. I mean, you can't. I mean, like someone who's on screen acting is still gonna have a lot to learn if they're gonna like transition to like doing a voice acting role or something like that, because there's different things that you have to learn.
Right.
Uh,
It's like acting is also it's almost like physical movement, like you're trying to portray like a certain action and like that action has to carry like a certain feel and emotion behind it, whereas like with voice acting, obviously you're acting through your voice. So
mhm.
like people listen to that and they kind of have to like hear if that voice kind of matches the character and like who they are as like a person. And so I kind of want to like touch on that too. Like you already kind of brought it up, but like acting versus voice acting, right? Like so there's like drama, or not even drama, I would say, but like kind of like a how would I describe this? Like almost like a little like void in between the two,
Okay.
um, in terms of like how people view it, right?
Hmm.
Um, and you said they're completely different, but do they have their like similarities and like do they have certain like skill sets that are kind of um that apply to both?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I feel like acting is universal in terms of voice acting versus on-screen acting. Like, um, you still have to create a character, you still have to portray emotions. Um, I just think that the difference is just in terms of um, like what like the effort you have to put into in terms of acting is a whole, right? It's like, your facial expressions, your body language, um, and the tone of voice, your emotion that comes out of the things that you say, versus voice acting, which is just your voice, but you have to portray and express all of those things through your voice,
Mm,
right?
mm-hmm.
Um, so I mean, at the end of the day, it's still acting.
Right.
Uh, So, I mean, I think like a seasoned actor could really, could pick up really easily and like do a great job in a voice acting scene or something like that. But they would just have to put more thought and effort into uh, their lines, I guess, and if it was a voice acting segment. Um,
Right. And how long have you been doing this again?
like 2, 3 months.
2, 3 months. That's crazy. Like you been enjoying it?
Oh yeah, it's been a blast. I mean, I haven't. It's kind of like a standstill right now because I'm waiting for some news.
Mm,
I won't go into detail, but basically, I had an opportunity to uh, kind of sell myself to a management company, and uh, the emails have been sent, and I'm just kind of like waiting now for because I basically sent an email to a president of a company,
okay.
and so it's one of those opportunities that's like, I wouldn't say it's once in a lifetime, but it's a very awesome opportunity for me to like get my career started and like to get really going because it's in terms of surviving, it's like I'm not making any money off of this yet, but it's one of those things that like it could take someone a year or longer to really like start even getting auditions because auditions is like the hardest part to get
Mm-hmm.
uh, without an agent.
Right. And so you said that you sent like an audition clip to a management company. So you're trying to apply or you're
No,
trying to be
it
managed?
wasn't. It wasn't an audition.
Oh, okay.
It was actually just like so I have a connection of a person that works at the company, and then they're close friends with the head of or the president, and so Basically, I sent he like pitched me. He was like, I'm definitely open to hear what you have to say about this person, which is me. And
Mm-hmm.
then I just sent in basically like an email about it, almost like a resume, I guess.
Okay.
Basically, just like what it is, my schooling, like what I like to do, like what it is that I want to do, like, uh, and then some headshots, and that's it. No like voice acting, because basically how it works, I guess, is like if he's interested, then he'll send me a read, and then I'll practice it, and then I'll send it to him, and then if they see the potential or whatever, then I should be signed, and then I'll have an agent, and then I'll start getting auditions, and then it's just work from there.
And do you think like having credentials matters in this case? Like if you're an entertainer trying to break into this industry,
Yep.
right? Does credentials really matter? Or is it more so like they're looking for experience?
So I will say that like in any job, credentials and experience are definitely important. Um, but I don't think that's like what's gonna break you in. Like if
Mm,
anything, networking is the number one thing. Is in this industry. I mean, it's kind of shitty, honestly.
mm-hmm.
Like it's basically who you know,
Right.
and um, like going through these classes and meeting these people who are working directly in the industry, like you have to give the best impression and try to build a relationship with these people just because they all have connections. They can literally be like, this your teacher or whatever, your someone that you made a friend with that's like friends with the casting director or something like that. You'd be like, hey, check out this guy. He's really good or whatever. And then you get a call, you get a read, and then you have a part. So it's like it can happen just like that. Sometimes like if you've done some work, let's say I get signed, let's say I have an agent now, I get some roles, I get a reel on their website that has like recordings of some of my reads or whatever. I mean, they could just be like, call, hey, check out this guy on the website, like to a casting director. They'll listen to the reads and be like, all right, this guy is perfect for it. Here's a role. Like it can happen just like that, just
Mm,
based on the people that you know, essentially, right?
right.
Uh, of course, there's you do have to have the a little bit of education backing or experience backing, just to like kind of get your foot in the door.
Mm-hmm.
But once you start meeting people that are directly active and a part of the industry, then that will be your best bet, I guess, at like succeeding. Um, because I mean, yeah, there's talent too,
Right. Right.
there is, um, and in terms of, but here's the things like I don't even think that you need to have like outstanding talent, but if you can network with these people and become friends with them and um, these people like you, then like, you're gonna get work. Um,
And so I have like one question in my mind. So you mentioned that you have to network yourself, like putting yourself out there, and then once you put yourself out there, you land like a few gigs here and there, like they'll hook you up with an agent. Is having an agent um important, and can you do most of this work without an agent? Because I feel like most people who are starting out, I feel like a lot of them almost focus too much on trying to get an agent for themselves because they think that's like, oh, once I get an agent, like I'm gonna start getting a shit ton of like job offers coming in and stuff like that. Like,
so if you look at it at like what an agent does, essentially you know, there's these big entertainment companies that have all these agents, and there's specific voice acting companies that basically all the big names like Disney, Sony, or whatever for video games, movies, commercials, all that stuff. They all go to these companies and send them um, these audition listings, and then they go to the agents, and then the agents look for things that are compatible with the people that they're managing, and then they send them those auditions. So it is the best way to like really get work all the time and like have a consistent you know
income
workflow, I
flow.
would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, income flow, workflow. um but there, I mean, there is totally like a way to do it without an agent. Like they have all these websites that you can sign up for, like voices.com, and stuff like that, where you can like kind of just like try and get auditions that are posted up there. Um, but I feel like it's a lot more convoluted and it's a lot harder to really um, land stuff. And if anything, like starting out doing that and then getting like building a reel or whatever, like that gives you more potential to maybe get signed somewhere and get an agent. Um, but that's, essentially without having any connections of the sort, right?
Right.
So for people who don't have, the luxury of knowing someone that is in the industry or something like that, right?
Hmm.
Uh, but I do think it's detrimental to eventually get an agent because it's you'll get like an email every day or something like that, like you have an audition at this time or whatever, or like next week or something like that. Like here's the lines, practice, and then you record it, um, and you just send it to them. I mean, that's the cool thing about voice acting too, is like a lot of it is just like at home
Hmm.
essentially. Um, I mean, there are some that like will be, you'll do a read and then they'll want you to come to their studio. Um, but it's actually crazy because a lot of voice actors are just they do their entire job from home in their at home studios. Like
Yeah, I
they
know. I know. Like most of the guys are like, "Yeah, this is the infomercial of the century." Bah, 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 bah. Like they do all of that like from home in their own home studio.
do you know the what's his face? You've watched Demon Slayer, right?
Yes.
So the Demon Slayer voice actor, um, like he does like so many dubbing stuff. He's done like he does Genshin characters, all that stuff. Um, and he does all of his roles from his closet in his house,
Whoa, really?
all just recorded at home.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
What's the guy's name? It's forget his name.
In his closet.
Yeah, it's crazy. He just has a home studio and Zach Aguilar. That's the name of the
Mm.
guy. Um, but he does like so he's a really big name in terms of like anime English dub and stuff like that. And that's something I'm like interested in doing. You know, like dubbing.
Mm.
Netflix has a ridiculous amount of dubbing because they do a lot of foreign films and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then also video games like that would be sick. Yeah, it's been a fun journey so far. I'm just hoping that it just keeps going. The ball keeps rolling.
Right. And so like as an aspiring entertainer, right? Like how are you keeping yourself sane?
Like in what aspect? Like just
Just
roll
in
or
like daily life because I mean like your obviously your income isn't guaranteed, right? Like your job offers, your gigs aren't guaranteed. Um and so obviously it will have like an effect on your mental, right?
oh yeah.
So like how do you handle like the inconsistency that comes with this job and
Well,
like
so
the uncertainty?
um, so I guess I in terms of that, I guess I could relate it more to my streaming just because I haven't really um done any work yet in terms of voice acting. Like I'm just trying to get to the point where like I'll get offered work and
Mhm.
then hopefully things kind of start going from there. But in terms of streaming, I guess it could be the same type of thing, uh, where you because I've been streaming for a couple years, um, and it's a slow grow. I mean, I would say I probably haven't put um, as much effort as I should have in terms of if I really wanted to like grow, like posting videos every day, just because I feel like Twitch is probably like one of the most like saturated platforms out there to grow a community and like I feel like it's essential if you want to grow on such a platform to post videos on like YouTube or TikTok. Like TikTok is the biggest one right now. Like that has the best algorithm. Um, but in terms of handling like I'm a broke bitch, like
Hey, 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 hey. But you can fix something that's broken, bro. So,
You're right. You're right. Exactly. Always fix something that's broken.
yeah, of course. and you're trying to do that now, which I do see. And so like streaming for you is more of like a de-stressor almost, like trying to connect with your community that you've like already built up so far.
Oh yeah, I mean like gaming in general is just like an escape,
Mhm.
from reality.
Mhm.
It's a de-stressor. It's something that like is fun. I get to spend time with friends. We just you know uh, just horse around and just do fun stuff and just vibe. And that's what I kind of live for in terms of the streaming part, which is why like I I also feel like this is a beneficial career to my streaming, just in terms of if I can do these roles and stuff and make a constant income, then it just like allows me to stream more in my free time. Uh, and who knows what that'll bring. I could be, let's say I get like a voice acting role for some character, and I'm like, oh, the VA for this is playing Valorant or some shit. It's like,
Right, right. It's like the people get a glimpse into your personal life, like
mhm,
behind like the voice, like they get to see you interact with them personally, which is
mhm.
honestly something pretty cool as like streamers. It's just that, like you said, it's a super saturated market, and it's really hard to break into it and make a name for yourself because there's so many people that are trying to do the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Which I mean, for like that's what I'm hoping for your podcast too, because like um in terms of your character, like when we've hung out and stuff like that, like I feel like you're a naturally funny guy, um, and you're pretty quick, and I feel like people will want to hear what you have to say. So
oh,
I
I appreciate that, bro.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and so since you did bring that topic up, would you like to do the honors of how we met in person, like like the whole
Oh yeah,
story and background behind that?
yeah. We gotta backpack off each other.
So I guess like for context, last year, since I am into like crypto and NFTs and stuff, there's an event called NFT NYC that happened like the last week of June, I believe. And so me
Last
and Alan, who made the intro beat for Probing Aliens, uh, we decided to make a trip out to and Saki. But Saki, not a lot of people know about Saki because he likes to stay hidden. But
in the show.
yeah, he's a really shy guy.
Yeah,
But we made a trip out to New York, and Derek at the time was just vibing with us, and he wasn't really into NFTs and stuff like that. But he was just like, "Hey, like I really do want to go out and meet you guys in New York, so I'm gonna try and find like a last minute plane ticket to fly out," and you did.
we stayed in New York in the heart of Manhattan for a week basically.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
What a week that was!
what a week, dude.
What a week that was.
Oh man. Um, and it was cool too because like it was kind of the first time that I ever like traveled by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, it was very intimidating, but also like an adventure, I would say.
It was
Uh,
definitely scary as fuck, bro. Cause like it for me, it was also my first time traveling without my family, um,
yeah,
and like traveling with friends, and then on top of that, like meeting people that I've met online through the internet, and
yeah,
so
and they're
like
all like behind a profile picture,
yeah,
right?
yeah, they're all behind like a profile picture. Like you can never tell like if they're real or fake or like they're crazy or fucking psychotic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, basically.
But I'm glad like you didn't turn out that way, obviously. Like
Oh no
we,
way.
dude, like as soon as you landed, like we clicked. Like I still remember like us talking on the phone. When you're on the way to the hotel, right? Because you were the last person to show up.
Yeah, I should have been
For
late.
our
Yeah,
room. Yeah, yeah. You showed up like a day after we did, which is not
yeah,
that bad. But I just remember like I was calling you and I was watching Bubble on Netflix actually before you came, and I stayed up all night and I was like, dang, like someone should probably like stay up and tell him or like you know, make sure that he's alive and well and like actually gonna make it to the hotel on time. Um, but I just remember like the feeling of like, I'm nervous. Like I'm about to meet this guy for like the first time, and we've only ever talked to each other over Discord. And then like as soon as you came in, like you were like super chill, dude. Like chill as fuck. You're just like funny. You're trying to like clear the air, break the ice, and I was just like, yeah, this guy's legit.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, of
I mean,
course.
yeah, you guys definitely made it a lot easier too, because I would say I'm like partially an extrovert, partially an introvert. Have introvert tendencies,
Hmm.
but I can be a little more outgoing if I need to. Um,
Which you
but
definitely were. You
well,
definitely were very outgoing that week, specifically.
sometimes a lot. I've heard a lot of the times that like I overwhelm people sometimes, uh, just because like I get a little like too crazy, I guess, like in terms of energy wise. Um, yeah, I remember specifically in third grade, I got the enthusiastic reward or some shit back in elementary school.
the the one that's most enthusiastic about life or something like that, right? Like the superlatives.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's the annoying ass kid in class that won't shut the fuck up. Like, but,
But no,
uh,
yeah, dude, like you came in, like you started unpacking for a little bit and you're like, I'm hungry. Like what's available? Like what's open? And then you went to go get some McDonald's by yourself while we were all knocked the fuck out. And then I see you come back into the room, open up your laptop, and then like you just turned on some anime and you just started like eating eating right in front of me as I was sleeping. I woke up, I looked, and I was just like, huh, this man's eating some nuggies while watching anime. That's that's relatable as fuck, dude.
dude, I was stressing. I was like, damn, this long ass flight, like the Uber drive. I was scared for my life.
Yeah, dude, you
Like,
were you were stressed and you're like, bro, like I don't know when, where, or you're just like all over the place. And then like I could just see like all of that stress just go away as soon as like you saw us and like you talked to me and
yeah, it was
our other
fine.
roommates.
Yeah.
Good times, good times. So like how was that experience for you? Like traveling by yourself, meeting online friends. Um, how was that for you?
I will say, I mean, like, I think that was a trip that I will never forget for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
maybe, like specifically some of the events that kind of, uh,
Transpired
trans- yeah.
that went down.
But, no, it was a great time, it was a great time with some great people. So,
And I also saw recently you went to go meet up with some of your or with one of your friends actually that you've been gaming with a lot recently in San Fran.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Ace Skeezy, Alex, he's another fellow streamer that I met not too long ago. I would say, oof, maybe four, 4 months ago, 4 months ago.
Oh wow. That's like
Yeah, literally.
that's literally like similar situation to us almost.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Like basically, he raided into me when I was streaming, and then uh, I raided into him like the next day or something like that. And then we were like, "Yo, we should run some games." And then we started playing some games together. And then we were just, we kind of like, there's something that Alex always says. He says your vibe attracts your tribe. That's what he said.
Your
Uh,
vibe attracts your tribe. Yo, that's a fire ass saying. Alex, I'm gonna steal that from you, bro. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Holy shit.
and like, uh, he's just like one of the most real people that I've met through Twitch, and it's kind of like a breath of fresh air. Just because there's I feel like on the internet and Discord and Twitch, like people seek drama, and
Mm,
it's just this constant kind of cycle that you go through meeting these people. Something happens, then you move on, then you make new friends. Um, but I feel like he's like along with you are one of the people that kind of just are a constant. maybe we're not like hanging out all the time, getting busy with our life shit and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when it really comes down to it, if want to just chill or hang out or whatever, like it's like we never stop talking. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
And so like
which
with
is
the Twitch communities, right? Like you obviously mentioned like drama and stuff like that. Like could you like elaborate more on like meeting like real people and like the drama like surrounding Twitch? Like what's that like? Like as a streamer who streams on Twitch, right? Like meeting people constantly, being rated by other streamers and then you rating other streamers, like how how do you upkeep that lifestyle? Because for me, like it's a little bit overwhelming because I am a little bit more introverted uh
Mhm.
than some people. So like obviously it ties into like building a community. So like how do you handle that?
So the thing is like I don't think I've been the best in terms of building a community,
Hmm.
and like maybe I haven't hit that point yet in my career in streaming, or like my I guess I could say career. Uh, but uh, I'm more of just like I play with people that I want to play with, um, instead of I haven't gone to the point where I'm doing collabs purposefully, you know.
Hmm.
Um, and I think I do meet a lot of people, but at the same time, there's not a lot of people that like I will sit down and like spend the night gaming with. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Um, I feel like I'm very nitpicky about that in terms of who it is that I'm willing to give my time to, just because like that is one of the like to note on what you said. Basically, it's very overwhelming to be meeting these two people all the time, managing who you're playing with and who you give your time to.
Yeah, because
Uh,
there's like a lot of like small circles and like groups of friends and like all these cliques that I didn't even realize was a thing in the Twitch community until like I started, interacting with the Twitch community. And I was like, this is a lot deeper than it is.
well, I feel like it applies to like real life as well. I mean, everybody
True,
has their
true.
kind of small circle of friends,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of like translates over to uh, an online platform, and I think that it's it's normal, but like at the same time, I feel like people can be a lot more welcoming, but also a lot more exiling. You know,
Mm,
so like people will be welcoming you into like come out and hang out in a gaming like in a Discord chat or something like that. But if you do something that turns somebody the wrong way, they will, you know, kind of ghost you
mm,
like nothing. You know,
right.
I that's a lot more common, a lot more common thing to happen online. Um, just because it's so easy to just, you
Just
know, not
disappear.
mess
Yeah, just not
or like,
interact with the person or the community anymore like that. And so
yeah.
like how do
Which
you deal with like all that like hate and like drama and ghosting when it comes to like streaming?
I think I have like I have like the closer circle that like I know will, we're kind of just always hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hang out a lot with Zuli. She's kind of like, we're like besties, I guess.
My twin
But
flame. My online twin flame.
but it's just one of those things like you have a couple people like, and that's the thing is like you don't need like, you know 15, 10 people to be super close with that you like rotate spending your time with. Like they say quality over quantity, right?
Hmm.
Um, in terms of the people that you hang out with. Like it's not like that I'm not open to like meet and hang out with new people, but there are times where I just don't want to do that and I'll just kind of be with the people that I'm comfortable with, right?
Right.
And I think dealing with the drama and shit like that, like honestly, I just don't like, I just steer clear of it, I guess, essentially. Like if something is gonna happen like that, or like I notice like certain tendencies about people, because I would like to say that I read people pretty well, um, and if I can see that there's that type of potential, then it's like something that I try to like distance myself from, just because it's I don't know, it's not worth that. It's not worth like going online and with gaming being my escape or streaming, like the last thing that I want to deal with is drama, right?
Right.
The
Like you
last
don't want that to bleed into your you time, like your winding down relaxation time almost.
Yeah, 100%. Because we're all dealing with our own shit outside of being on call on Discord and playing games and stuff like that.
Hmm.
You know, um, and like a lot of the people that I like will kind of default to essentially. Like they know, like I talk to them about that stuff,
Hmm.
and they know what's going on. And it's like, and like I know about them as well, and like what their situation is, and like it, it's just I just that's the thing that pisses me off is like how people can be so mean, right?
Mm.
When like that you never know what like people are going through. Like it's the last thing you should do if you're trying to escape through gaming and stuff like that is project
Right.
those things onto
Hmm.
other people while in the midst of their me time
Hmm.
essentially.
Hmm.
It's just not cool. But like so many people do it. Um, and like I get it, like we all have bad days, and like sometimes there's just like it just bleeds through, and like um, it, you can't really control it. But the people that are, the real ones and the ones that you are in your close circle and stuff like that, like they pick up on that shit, and then like maybe someone will ask you like, "Are you okay?" And then you know maybe that turns into like a Discord, like a one-on-one Discord call that ends at 6 a.m. in the morning. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, we have plenty of those too. Plenty of those. And so like if I was someone, right, who likes to play games a lot, but doesn't really have like a group to game with or really anyone to talk to in terms of like online and stuff, like would you say Twitch is the best way to find a community where you think you could fit in?
I think that's like a double-edged sword,
Mm.
just because if it's one of those things where you're desperate to find new friends and like to find people to game with and stuff like that, like it can also lower your standards, right?
Mm.
Like it can make it to where you're just willing to accept anyone who will accept you into their group or vibe with you, right? Without kind of sticking to your morals, right?
Right.
And eventually that's just going to make you unhappy, I feel like, and you're going to clash if you don't I guess really what's the word
If you
I
don't
guess
really
think
like
about,
click vibe.
well, if you like think about, if you don't take those factors into
Oh,
account
okay, okay.
before making friends with people like that, because I think that Twitch is a great platform to meet new people, uh, uh, to join a community and see if that's like somewhere that you'll fit in. I think it's really cool to do like little test runs, whatever. Just join a chat, whatever, hang out with new people, see how it goes. You never know where it could really lead to.
Mhm.
Uh, but I think it's just one of those things like to be careful about and to really like think about beforehand, right?
Right, like
Like,
almost kind of like protect yourself going into it. Like, yeah, it's
mhm,
okay to like find friends and stuff, but like know your boundaries.
100%.
Mm.
And don't like be fake. Like that's I feel like that's the key, that like people feel like, because I feel like everybody has like an internet persona, right?
Yeah, like an online persona that they project. It's like a
Yeah,
version of themselves that like they want to project to the entire world, but it's not who they really are.
yeah, like I guess a good example is like guys that go on the internet and like talk with a deeper voice, right?
Mm. Yeah,
Like
like
they,
me, where I try
yeah,
to, talk
yeah, I
all
could have
deep
been
and
like,
shit.
what's up, bud? Well, thanks for inviting me on the podcast.
Yeah,
Like, I
bro, no
appreciate
problem,
it,
bro. You know how it is,
bro.
man.
It's just I feel like people are their insecurities and things are they try to fix those things by projecting the type of person that they want to be for people that don't know who they are,
Mm,
right?
right. And
And
that kind of like leans into the saying of like, don't believe everything you hear or see on the internet.
oh, 100%. Yeah. Like, yeah, damn. Like
It's just like you have to know like internet etiquette.
internet etiquette,
Internet etiquette.
emphasis on that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like internet etiquette is something that like not a lot of people know about too, because like what could work in the normal like real world society doesn't really translate most of the time to the internet, just because like it's more easier, it's easier to meet people that are from different countries, that are from like all walks of life, because you guys are connecting over the internet instead of like being limited to the physical.
Hmm.
And so like how do you, right, learn these things like internet etiquette, and if you don't have a group of friends online, you know what I mean? Like how are you supposed to survive in like this digital world?
I think it's essentially it's just I mean at that point I feel like you just go for it, right? Like
Hmm.
you'll learn eventually. Like
Hmm.
I feel like if you are very unsure, you're not well versed in the internet world and you're trying to look for new friends and stuff like that. Like you just are, it's gonna be like trial and error, I would say. Uh, I mean, at least for me personally, like I've always been the type of person to learn from my mistakes,
Hmm.
right? Like I'm not like the critical thinker before I do something, right? I'm like, okay, this could end up badly or whatever. Like I'm like I go in there, I fuck up, and then damn, all right, I learned from you know what I messed up, right?
Right.
Uh, that's kind of just how I've been, like how I like that's how I learn, I guess. I'm trying to like change that, to
Hmm.
be a little bit more, to think a little bit more before doing certain things. Um, but everybody's prone to make mistakes and hopefully learn from them. It's just like if you learn, like you have to learn from them. If you otherwise, you're just gonna keep making the same mistakes and just make yourself and other people unhappy.
Yeah.
Um,
And so I want to kind of like backtrack too. Um,
okay.
like before you mentioned that you have like a really big network, right? Like you have a lot of connections.
Hmm.
Um, care to elaborate more on that?
Oh yeah. So my older brother is Kodi Lee. He's a blind, autistic, musical prodigious savant, and essentially that means like I get a musical genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that term can be very misunderstood.
Mm,
Um, but he America's Got Talent. I'm sure a lot of people know what that is. Um, but basically, he in 2019 he won season 14 of America's Got Talent. Um, and uh, over the years, he's met a lot of cool people, a lot of people in the industry, in terms of music production, just like making family friends and stuff like that, that are, have different outlets to different forms of um, entertainment that they are a part of. And like when I say connections like that, a lot of those come from him, right?
mm-hmm.
Um, and throughout these past years, like I dedicated my life to like helping with that, with the family and stuff like that, just because like that was like a huge change for all of our lives.
Mm,
Um, and it's been a matter of like support, just because like my my parents like didn't know really how that industry works. Like my mom is essentially his manager, and she's been going through like a crazy learning process. of just what she has to do to kind of like uh, keep him on the upcome essentially
Right.
after. Uh, he has a show right now in Vegas, uh, the AGT live show. I think it's called Superstars. Um, I think I'm gonna say I think because it might be a show,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Just to cover your bases. It's late. It's
but
late.
uh, he's on his second year of the contract, so he's been there for almost 2 years now. He does a show there. What is it? 5 days a week.
Oh wow.
Uh, so yeah, it's a full-time job. I mean, he's there from like 6 to 11 p.m. or something like that. He does like two shows, but like in terms of that, like it's been a crazy ride. I mean, me and my sister live in Cali.
Hmm.
We're at the house here, and then my brother has a house up there in Vegas. And so
It's
I
a lot of
guess
traveling back and forth.
it is a lot of traveling back and forth for like holidays and stuff like that and whatever. And it's also been kind of just different, because I haven't lived apart from my family for like my whole life as of 2 years ago.
Hmm.
So I mean, I live with my sister, so like uh, that hasn't really changed. She's still yelling at me every day uh, to do shit around the house. But
And so, like, you know, ever since Cody won, you said 2019, right? Or 2018?
yeah, so it's the season 14
Okay, so
of.
season 14 of America's Got Talent, like ever since he won that, right? Like you said, it basically changed like your whole entire family's life, right?
Mhm.
Do you mean that in a good way or a bad way?
So, well, there's definitely like positive and negatives, just because um, it's I've experienced a lot of cloud chasing,
Mm,
which is interesting. It's an interesting thing, uh, just being like his brother, right? And
mm-hmm.
then also not as much now. Like I would say, like that was more when it was fresh.
Right.
Uh, but also keep a note that he won at the end of 2019, and that's when COVID started, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of rough just because, you know, his his exposure started right when everybody was like on lockdown now. So like for that whole year, like all the stuff we had lined up was kind of like canceled. And so we've kind of been grinding and grinding and grinding until stuff's been kind of picking up more this last year. Um, he's working on an album.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
but the thing about that is it's been a really tough process just because my mom and dad don't really, they're, let's just say they're like not with the times,
Okay, I see.
um, in terms of music and stuff like that. And so it's kind of been like me and my sister always like, they always like pitch stuff to us. And then, because like, uh, I am like very familiar with like, current culture and stuff like that,
Right, right.
you Gen Z shenanigans and shit.
The up and coming
But
music industry.
yeah, like how everything comes off of TikTok now.
Yeah,
Um,
it's actually crazy.
but it's been in terms of the negatives, I guess when I was saying like the cloud chasing and stuff, it's just like people like I feel like people were trying to talk to me more just because I had that connection and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And I don't know, just like it just felt super fake and shitty. It was just
Right.
like you know, uh, but like I'm at that point where like I don't really even give a shit about that anymore.
Well, how often did you have to deal with that?
I mean, it wasn't like all the time. I mean, I would say, like be people on Instagram hitting me up or like people that don't usually hit me up or haven't hit me up in a long time, like will be hitting me up. And I'm like, that's interesting.
Hmm. Hmm. It's like, oh,
Um,
hey, like I know you, and isn't your brother Kodi Lee? Like, wasn't he
it,
the winner of America's Got Talent? Like, hey, what's up, bro? How you doing? Long time no talk.
I actually did a little another podcast when I was in San Francisco. It was just like a little thing we did when we were there
Mm.
at Alex's house.
Hmm.
Uh, and he actually asked me a question like in terms of being in uh, my brother's shadow thing,
Mm.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because people always referring to me as like Kodi Lee's brother. and stuff like that or whatever. And I used to like be kind of upset about it, and it would bother me a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
um, just because.
You were being
Uh,
compared.
oh yeah, 100%. Like
Yeah.
I am my own person, of
Mm-hmm.
course, um, but at the same time, it also really touched on feelings that I've had in the past and stuff like that in terms of like when you're growing up with uh, a sibling that has a disability or autism, like it takes a lot of energy out of your parents and a lot more attention to that child to help them improve, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, when I was a kid, like growing up, I was like angry and upset just because, I wasn't getting as much attention as I would like as a
Right.
child,
Yeah.
right? Because he took a lot of work. Because everybody sees him and he's like an angel, but you know, my mom put in she busted her ass off to make him the person that he is today.
Mm-hmm.
With like therapy, like every day for 2 to 3 hours a day for like 8 years. So
Shit.
yeah, and like she's basically getting beat up because it was a lot of physical therapy. It's like breathing exercises, massaging his arms and legs, to get him used to like physical touch and stuff like that. Because a lot of like with kids with autism, they are very um, sensitive to anything that's like any of the senses, so like touch, sound, large crowds,
Mm.
um, any of those things, like it would cause them to tantrum.
Right.
And when he tantrums, he just gets super violent. So like my mom was always like doing therapy, getting beat up, getting kicked, screamed at, all that stuff. uh, so when I was a kid, like of course I didn't really like think of that. I was just like mad because I wasn't getting attention from my
Yeah,
parents. But
you're focused on yourself,
yeah.
which I mean, as a little kid, like that's all we ever think about, right? Like we only ever think about ourselves.
Right, 100%.
Yeah. Like we want everything for ourselves, but it's understandable that you got mad, you know? Like I
Oh
I
yeah.
I probably would have been the same way too if I was in your position. Like if my parents weren't paying attention to me either, um I would definitely like, feel some type of way towards my older brother too. But
Yeah.
like now talking to you, it feels like you almost kind of have like a respect for him and your mom, of course.
Oh yeah. I would say that my brother is my inspiration,
Mm,
just because I've seen the battles that he's had to fight, and then um, and being the person that he is today and accomplishing what he's accomplished uh, is like insane. Like I
mm-hmm,
think it's crazy. I think
mm-hmm.
it's awesome, and I think it's super admirable and just something that like I strive to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Maybe not in his field, but just like in something that I want to accomplish and work towards. Like he's been always that like motivation in the back of my head,
Okay.
because I respect him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because he's kind of like it's not just that he won AGT, is what my mom says. It's that he won for every person in the world with like a disability,
Mm.
uh, stuff. Kind of showing that like anything is possible, right?
Right. Like it's bigger than him.
Oh yeah, it transcribes it to the world itself in terms of um, anybody who feels like they can't do something, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like uh, we hear it a lot. You're scrolling through TikTok, you find like an inspirational video, um, and stuff like that. You see people with disabilities like and like popping up on social media and stuff like that, and it's a really cool thing to see. Uh, and I feel like Cody's not the only one. There are I'm sure there's a lot of other people that have become really successful and to the public eye, um, that have helped people, uh, or to show that you can do anything
Right.
you put your mind to,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. But he is definitely um, one of those people for sure. and that's what just makes it so awesome. I think that's you know to have a person like that in my life because it's just been it's been a it's of course it's been a battle. It's been tough.
Yeah.
Um, like I think I've heard a lot because like whenever we go to um, like events or something that Cody's performing at, my mom gives a little speech about parents with kids with disabilities and stuff, and like she's always like my mom is like the most antisocial person you could fucking meet. Like she doesn't talk to people. She definitely does not like public speaking. Like that's the last thing she would ever want to do. But she does it for Cody because
Mm,
and the thing is too is like she's so good at it when she's up there and like talking about his topic and like about that type of thing. Like she does a great job, but she always just freaking out before. Uh,
I can relate
but
to that.
it's like she knows what to say, but she doesn't want to go up there in front of all these
Yeah,
people and say,
yeah, because it's scary, dude. Like talking in front of like a bunch of people about like, what you're passionate about, and obviously like she's managing her own son too. So like
"Mhm.
whatever she says about, her own son, it's obviously gonna go back to her. And
Oh
so
yeah,
that must take like a lot of courage for her to do that.
oh yeah, she's a superhero. She's a super mom. She's definitely been like of course I have my thing like my issues and stuff and like just like as a being a parent to a child or a child to a parent
Hmm.
our arguments and stuff like that um but uh I'm very blessed and proud of her for everything that she's done for me and my siblings and so it's it's been a crazy ride and I'm happy for her that she's happier now um like on her own uh because my parents are split, but she's been thriving. She's having a great time. Always calling. Like my mom's an animal person. She wanted to be a vet before she got pregnant with my brother. So we have like a bunch of animals. Like at the house, she has like five bald cats and two bald dogs, all American hairless terriers or something like that. I think that's what they're called. And
Why
they are
specifically bald?
I don't know. They're just my sister and mom are like infatuated with bald animals for some reason. Uh, but they just one of the dogs, Piper, she had a litter, so there's like four little puppies
Four little
at the,
bald puppies just running around.
but they're not bald yet. Some of them, so they're a little bald. They have like this little fuzzy fur
Mm.
layer that like falls out when they get bigger, but they're uh they're like they look like what are they called? Um, like a guinea pig. That's what they look like.
Mm.
Like,
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah.
really cute. But she's living her life with their animals and, managing my brother, doing all that stuff. And I'm just happy that she's happier.
And so it's just her. Like there's no other like agency backing all up. Like it's literally just your mom.
So that's the things like she wants to manage him, but like she gets help from other people in terms of like his social media or whatever it is. For the album stuff, like she's been going through a bunch of producers trying to find someone that will uh, make, like kind of bring his music to life.
Hmm.
Because that's the thing that's been the toughest. Like it's been like an entire like it takes a process, like it takes a while. Just because Cody can't really write his own music.
Right.
Um, I mean he can make twists in like maybe add a word or something like that. And he does the whole rhythm and stuff, but he can't really write the lyrics in terms of that, just because he's very I would say he I mean in terms of on the spectrum I would say he's like middle functioning.
Hmm.
Like he can hold like he can like you can talk to him and he'll respond to you and stuff, but like it's not always like critical thinking, I guess, is what you could say.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, so it's been really tough to find people that will like write for him and like produce for him and actually like put the time and effort into it. Because like, also a lot of these people in the industry are just kind of like, oh, they see that he's has autism and da da da, and like you know they're kind of like iffy about it and shit. When in reality, like he's probably easier to work with than most artists, just because like he can change things on the fly. Like
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can like it's crazy when he's in the studio, because it's hard to really know the genius behind him unless you interact with him in person, right?
Right.
Musically, right? Um, but like I guess a good example is like if you're recording with him a song, let's say you're recording a song, he does a lyric or something, he sings that lyric, and then be like, Kodi, add a harmony. He'll add a harmony. You can, and then just he'll add a harmony first try, just right after they ask, and then you can keep asking him to add a harmony. He'll add a different harmony for like he can add 30 different harmonies like
Damn.
right after one after another. Um,
That's
like the
actually really
perfect pitch.
hard.
Yeah,
That's
it's
like
crazy, but
super hard.
yeah, it's insane. Like I'll like mess around with music stuff because I do a little bit of music myself, but and I'll like record something and then I'll do like a couple harmonies and I'm like after the second one I'm like damn I don't know
I
where,
don't know where to add on to this.
but he's yeah it's crazy, it's crazy seeing him work, and like he just he's like a library, like as we call him, a human jukebox. Because like you'd be like if he hears a song once, like he'll have that melody and tune in his head permanently, and you
Mm.
can just ask him like, Cody, what's this song? And then like he has thousands of songs memorized already, like in his mind, and it's just it's crazy. Like
It's just like it's insane like how someone, especially like since he has a disability too, like to be able to remember thousands of songs, like perfect pitch, perfect melody, like that's 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 almost like impossible.
you would think, right? Yeah,
Right. Yeah. You would think it's almost impossible, but we have a live living example of a musical genius in action.
yeah, he's a cool dude.
And so, Derek,
Hmm.
I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I am gonna hit you with some last questions.
Okay,
Like, what is next for you?
what is next for me? Right now, I'm probably gonna have to get a 9 to 5 job temporarily to, pay the bills
Mm-hmm.
until this voice acting stuff kind of hopefully takes off. Um,
I really
Maybe I'll work at
do.
like
I
the
really do
hobo
hope that it
shops.
takes off for you.
Thank you, man. I think like that's that's really what I'm working towards right now. And like my parents have always been like super like worried for me because like I haven't really shown passion in a lot of things,
Mm,
gaming.
yeah, yeah. No, that's relatable. Honestly, it's like there's nothing that's like really made you go for something like full force.
Yeah. So they're definitely backing me a lot, and it's been a really cool support system. Like hearing my mom say she's proud and all that stuff, and like because I've been in a pretty tough spot, I would say, in my life right now.
Hmm.
It's been definitely tough to, especially with like social media nowadays, like seeing all these people living their lives and having shit figured out. Like I feel like that's one of the things that
Right.
like
Like it's easy to
really fucks
compare
with people.
yourself.
Hmm. You kind of have to just like not compare yourself to people like that. Everybody lives their life at their own pace, um, and you take the steps you have to take to get where you want to be, no matter how long it takes you, right?
Right.
And it doesn't matter if there's like an 18-year-old that's making millions of dollars, or and you finally hit 35 and make 6 figures. Like as long as you're happy and you're content and you're proud of yourself, and you have people, you surround yourself with good people. Um, that's really all. Actually, I was watching a YouTube video the other day. I was watching Tech Tone.
Tech
Um,
Tone, let's go.
boy, but he said, the you become the people that you hang around. You know,
Hmm.
uh, if you're hanging around six racists, you're gonna be the seventh. If you're
Mm.
hanging around but I mean, you get the example, right? So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Like if you hang out with like a group of druggies, right? Like you're eventually gonna be that same druggie just
yeah,
because like you're surrounding yourself in that environment.
yeah. If you're hanging around six or five depressed people, you're gonna become the sixth.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things that like that goes back to your vibe attracts your tribe. It's like you want to be around people that um, push you to grow, right? That people that are doing their own shit, they're happier or like I mean, not you can't really tell when anybody is like really actually happy. Like you only know that yourself, I would think.
Mm.
Um, unless someone says they are. But like being around people that are doing their own thing, but also supporting you and like helping you grow, like those are the best people to keep around in your life, I think.
Okay.
But at least for the future right now, I'm just trying to get the voice acting going, just trying to get work and then hopefully uh, things will take off.
Yeah. Hopefully things will take off. And so, like, for someone who's trying to be an aspiring entertainer like yourself, right? Like, what are some tips and advice that you would give to those people?
I would say the number one is to enjoy the journey. Like,
That's a good one.
like instead of like working towards something and thinking, okay, this is my goal, this is what I want to hit. Like, I just need to get there. I need to get there, like instead of focusing so much on the outcome, focus more on, the process and enjoying the process, enjoying the journey, enjoying the steps that it takes to get to where you're supposed to be. And I feel like you'll be a lot more happy uh, and positive going through a journey working towards something that you want to achieve, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because if you get too caught up in chasing the outcome, then you're just gonna make yourself miserable because you're like, why am I not there yet?
Right. I mean, you're just kind of like turning a blind eye to like all the stuff that's happening around you at the moment.
100%.
Hmm. Okay, well, Derek, are there any like socials you would like to share for people to look you up in terms of like your voice acting career as well as your Twitch?
I mean, I can just throw my Twitch out there.
Okay.
My Twitch is twitch.tv/Dinsu, which is a Dinsuu. And then yeah, and if you go on my Twitch, like all my other socials are linked there. Um, but yeah,
All right. And do you have any last words for our listeners today?
last words. Yes, I do.
Oh.
Thank you for having me on this podcast. I am so excited to see where this goes. Proud of you, bro. Getting this thing started. I'm happy to be your first test dummy, if I am.
I
Uh, uh,
appreciate that. It
yeah,
means a
dude.
lot.
Definitely, we gotta reconnect more. 100%.
Yes,
Now
yes.
you've been
I still need to make that trip out to Cali. I know I've been blue balling you for a pretty long time trying to go out there and fly. But I will
hey,
definitely try my best to make it out there. I really do want to go out to Cali and hang out with you guys.
hell yeah, dude. You are always welcome. And like take your time. Like no rush, no rush.
Of course, yeah. We're always friends. We're always gonna be homies, you know.
Yes, sir.
And
And then maybe next time we can get into the stories of
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like probing aliens after dark or something. I've already been
yeah.
like working up a concept like that. So
Okay, that's sick. Okay.
yeah, yeah. But Derek, again, I appreciate you for coming on. Like I said, on such short notice. You've always been a good friend to me. We've related a lot on a lot of things, especially since our like New York trip. Like I said, like that week is I'm not gonna forget that week for sure.
That was ridiculous.
That's like one of the most memorable moments I've had in my entire life, and I'm glad that I got to actually meet you in person.
Same
Because
here, brother.
if I didn't, I don't think we would have had like a close relationship like this
Yeah,
for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
It's just down to the nitty gritty, right? You and you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, like just opening up in person. It's just something about that just changes people.
Hmm.
But yeah, I really do appreciate you. You can find Derek on his Twitch streams at twitch.tv/Densu, DINSUU. Sometimes you'll probably see me there as a moderator, just moderating his chats. Probably trolling most of the time, which I usually do. I love the troll. Um, but yeah,
Troll City.
Troll City, baby. Derek, thank you for being on. And your vibe attracts your tribe.
A vibe attracts your
Your
tribe.
vibe attracts your vibe. Bye, guys. Greetings, Earthlings. If you did enjoy this episode, please do give us a like on whatever platform you were watching this slash listening to this on, whether it be uh, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Twitter, SoundCloud, Pocket Cast. We're also on socials like Instagram, TikTok, again, YouTube. So, Twitter. Don't forget Twitter. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, go give us a follow. Check us out.